This is part 3 of the continuing story of Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Here at Rondia Coffers from Chains to Change. The mobs were gone, but something new was coming. In the quiet after the violence, a different kind of threat crept in. One that didn't announce itself with flames or shouts, but with silence and slow erosion. The people of Mound Bayou, who had survived the terror of burning crosses and angry crowds, now faced a more insidious enemy. Neglect, poverty, and the slow squeeze of economic isolation. Mound Bayou wouldn't burn again, but it would bleed in slower ways. The jobs dried up, schools struggled, and families watched their dreams fade. These wounds were harder to see, and even harder to fight. The struggle for survival became quieter, but no less real. In the face of these hidden hardships, the spirit of the town was tested every day. But in part 4, new challenges and unexpected triumphs are on the horizon for Mound Bayou. By the early 1900s, Mound Bayou was more than just a town. It was a beacon of hope and a testament to Black self-determination in the heart of the Mississippi Delta. Founded by formerly enslaved people, it quickly blossomed into a thriving community. The streets bustled with activity. Children in crisp uniforms walked to well-kept schools, neighbors gathered at vibrant churches, and the hum of commerce filled the air. Mound Bayou boasted its own banks, where Black families could save and invest without fear of discrimination. There were grocery stores, barber shops, and even a hospital, one of the few in the region that welcomed Black patients and doctors alike. This was a place where Black excellence was not just a dream, but a daily reality. The town's founders, like Isaiah Montgomery, envisioned a safe haven where Black families could own land, build businesses, and educate their children, free from the constant threat of white violence and oppression that haunted so many other Southern towns. But as Mound Bayou's reputation for prosperity grew, so did the attention of outsiders. Whispers of progress drifted beyond the town's borders, catching the ears of powerful railroad companies and white-owned corporations. These entities saw opportunity, not in the spirit of the community, but in the land beneath their feet and the wealth they were building. They began to circle, sending representatives with polished shoes and practiced smiles, offering land deals that, on the surface, seemed fair and generous. But beneath the veneer of partnership lurked a different reality. The contracts were riddled with hidden clauses, the terms stacked against the people of Mound Bayou. These deals were designed to siphon away land, resources, and autonomy, slowly tightening the grip of outside control. The townspeople, many of whom had only recently gained the right to own property, found themselves facing a new kind of threat, one that didn't come with torches or guns, but with paperwork and legal jargon. The pressure was relentless, and the stakes were nothing less than the future of the town itself. Inside the homes and meeting halls of Mound Bayou, concern grew. Town leaders debated late into the night, weighing the risks of each proposal. Some saw the offers as a chance to bring in new investment, to modernize and expand. Others warned that accepting outside money would mean giving up the very independence that made Mound Bayou special. The community was at a crossroads, and every decision felt heavy with consequence. The elders remembered the sacrifices it took to build this town from nothing, and they were determined not to let it slip away without a fight. As the 20th century marched on, another force began to pull at the fabric of Mound Bayou: the Great Migration. Across the South, Black families packed their belongings and boarded trains bound for the North, lured by the promise of better wages, safer neighborhoods, and the hope of a new beginning. Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis. These cities called out with the siren song of opportunity. For many, the decision to leave was agonizing. They were leaving behind not just homes, but a community built on shared struggle and triumph. Yet the North offered what the South so often denied: the chance to earn a living wage, to vote without fear, to send their children to better schools. The train stations grew crowded as families said tearful goodbyes, clutching suitcases and dreams of a brighter future. The impact on Mound Bayou was profound. Many of the town's brightest minds, teachers who had inspired generations, doctors who had healed the sick, farmers who had coaxed life from the Delta soil, packed up and left. Each departure was a blow to the community's strength and resilience. The loss was felt in empty classrooms, shuttered businesses, and fields left untended. Those who remained faced the daunting task of holding the town together with fewer hands and fewer resources. The exodus was not just about numbers. It was about the slow erosion of the town's spirit, as the people who had once built it up were now forced to seek their fortunes elsewhere. For those who stayed, the challenges only grew. The town's population dwindled, and with it, the tax base that funded schools, roads, and public services. Businesses struggled to stay afloat as customers disappeared. The sense of community that had once been Mound Bayou's greatest strength was tested as never before. Yet, even in the face of these hardships, the people of Mound Bayou refused to give up. They leaned on each other, finding strength in shared history and common purpose. But the cracks were beginning to show, and everyone could feel it. But perhaps the most insidious threats to Mound Bayou's survival were the ones that came quietly, almost invisibly. These attacks didn't make headlines or spark protests, but they were no less devastating. Local banks, often controlled by outsiders, began denying loans to black farmers and business owners, making it nearly impossible to expand or even maintain what they had built. Land deeds were lost or stolen, and legal battles dragged on for years, draining families of their savings and hope. Meanwhile, local politicians, some of whom had once been allies, were quietly pressured or bribed to redraw district lines, cutting Mound Bayou off from vital resources and political representation. These acts of bureaucratic violence were designed to weaken the town from within, to make it harder and harder for the people of Mound Bayou to thrive. The dream that Isaiah Montgomery and the town's founders had built was being chipped away. Not with fire or violence, but with pens, paperwork, and the slow grind of systemic injustice. Every denied loan, every altered map, every stolen deed was another blow to the vision of a self-sustaining Black community. The people of Mound Bayou watched as their hard-won gains slipped through their fingers, not because they had failed, but because the system was rigged against them at every turn. Yet, even as the walls closed in, the spirit of resistance endured. The town's leaders fought back in courtrooms and council meetings, refusing to let their community be erased without a fight. By the 1930s, Mound Bayou still stood, a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. But the cracks were visible now, running through the heart of the town. Empty storefronts, overgrown fields, and fading paint told the story of a community under siege. Yet, in the gathering dusk, there was still a sense of pride and defiance. The people of Mound Bayou had faced impossible odds before, and they were determined to endure, no matter what came next. In those cracks, however, trouble was growing, threats that would test the very soul of the town in the years to come. Source suggestion: The Great Migration Archives, Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. Source suggestion: Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Source suggestion: Mississippi Civil Rights Museum Mound Bayou Collection. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like and notification bell for part 4 of more of this story.